Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the weekly live stream for Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. My name is Dylan Wilks, and I am your host today. And I don't know if you can hear our really cool heating system, but it's kind of rattling away, and I can hear it through the headphones really clearly. So I apologize for that. There's not a lot to be done. It's nice and cold and wet here in the Pacific Northwest right now, so if you see me shivering, that's why. So just like last week, and likely next week as well, it's a cold autumn Pacific Northwest day, and we'll be doing another 2-hour stream today, and we're going to be doing things a little bit differently than we have in previous weeks, just because we have one guest today, but it's a 2-hour show, and taking someone away from their work for 2 hours is a little bit longer than we want to do, other than myself. So one of our artists, Michelle, will be joining us at about 2 o'clock Pacific in an hour. But until then, it's just going to be you and me. We're just going to talk. Or I will talk and read and listen, because we're kind of reaching the point where we really want some feedback about our stream and about how we're doing this and whether or not this communication is working for all of us. What can we do to improve the live stream? What can we do to improve our communications with you, the audience, the players, and to a degree, what can we do to improve Idle Champions? Because there aren't a lot of official avenues for us to accept feedback from you, and we do want it. That's not a promise that we're going to do everything that people talk about, but if we're totally off the right track on something, or we're on the right track with something, we'd like to hear about it. Shout outs and welcome to Thanatos, Devudinator, Oboe Crazy, Giant Dwarf, Faint Karmatic. I'm pretty sure each of you are in here almost every week, so thanks for joining us. That's awesome. Hello also to Slack a Lot and Pocky76. And it looks like Clive is in here as well. Darkfire Savior, Sir Spamalot. Welcome. So it's going to be a bit of a different show. We're going to do a little bit more of a back and forth, and then we're also going to, we're going to do giveaways. Leanth22T is also here every week. Thank you. Thanks, Leanth. Rylene. Oh, everybody's coming in here now. Oh, geez, I can't keep up. I'm sorry. I tried, but a few too many names. Daylight Asunder. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that name. Hiram Martinez. Cool. Well, welcome all. So we have a few giveaways today. We have a Lords of Waterdeep game plus both DLC packs, courtesy of Playdeck. We have a Tales from Candlekeep Tomb of Annihilation Steam key, courtesy of BCom Studios. We have another one of these. This is a postcard that has a code for 2 gold chests, and has been signed by none other than Archon himself, Joe Manganiello. You can see his name right there, and then Archon down below. Archon has surprisingly nice printing for a Dragonborn. So we'll be giving that away as well, and then on top of that, we'll be giving away a full list of our DLCs. We'll be doing a Brunner, Celeste, and Nayeli starter packs, one each for people. So yes, welcome to the show, and I am going to switch over to the game now. So at the very least, there's something a little bit more interesting behind me than a static game background where nothing's happening. And I'm just gonna Garawar. That is a bit of a presumption of me, but with claws, holding an instrument, it's not the same thing as holding a giant axe named Bone Cleaver. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sure his cursive is not quite as nice as Joe Manganiello's cursive. Anywho, I'm going to switch over to the game view, and then let's get this started. I'm going to be doing my best to keep an open dialogue about questions and answers and feedback. We really want feedback. I really want feedback. If this show sucks, tell me. But do it nicely. I am a person who has some feelings, I think. Maybe a bit of feelings. Anyways, switching over to the game. What am I doing? Let's see. Looks like I am being invited to join myself on the stream. That's interesting. Add some more party members. This is going to take a little bit to get rolling. I'm only on level 21. So, looks like I got a question from is it Uzao or is it 00 Zhao? One of the Kellenbor's blessings coming out. For anybody who wasn't on the official Idle Champions Discord this morning or earlier today, a couple hours ago, when I addressed this somewhat, and if you aren't on the official Discord, you should join us at discord.gg/idlechampions. It was one of those things where we were talking about the context of, yeah, we thought, Dave thought it would be released by a certain time. And it's definitely something that's in the pipeline that we want to get done. And then it just keeps getting edged out in favor of other things that, are a little bit more priority perhaps in that moment. And so they are coming. They are not coming today. I don't know if they will come next week, but they are. It's definitely on our list of things to do. So expect them, but don't be surprised if they don't show up in the next, week or two. Yeah, and it's funny because on that note, just speaking about making announcements with games in general, we want so much to talk about a lot of different things that we have planned and in the pipeline because there's a lot of really exciting news. But at the same time, what we don't want is to disappoint people by saying, yes, X, Y, and Z are all coming out on these dates. And then if you miss any of those deadlines, like how much does that suck? How disappointing is that? So I know that some news is probably better than no news at all approach might make people feel a little bit better, but we just don't really want to promise anything that we then don't deliver on. So we are a little bit more comfortable, basically letting all the information come out when patches get pushed out and when there's a release. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's a very tricky balance to communicate. And sorry if we're disappointing people by not having Kellenbor's blessings out yet, but they are coming. They are totally coming. I'm just gonna grab a drink here. Yeah, sorry, Colonel Strachan. It's not coming today. We are hard at work on other things. I don't know if anybody saw the social tease that we did, what, an hour or two ago? That's just said soon, ominously. Well, it looks like people have noticed that the secret code is ICANN has chests, please. Yeah, that will work. That will get you 2 gold chests. It'll get you them right now. That code is active until 3:00 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, the 17th of November. So it's active for another, what, 2 hours, 25 hours? Wait, 26 hours. My math sucks. Yes, so Blue Irelia, Death Event Moon. Perhaps. Next question, what do we got? Was the masked man in The Liars actually the god Mask? No comment. But I like what you're thinking, Giant Dwarf. And have a suggestion for a transcript on answers. So yes, that is very good. That is a very good suggestion and something that we've talked about internally. Just because, even just thinking about last week, we probably answered 65 questions. The trick tends to be for people to have the time to transcribe. This being a smaller indie studio, there's 18 of us in the office. Most of our resources go towards, live game management for previous titles, but also for, mostly for Idle Champions and creating new content. And yeah, it's a matter of somebody having the time to watch the stream and transcribe it all out. But what we are thinking about doing is creating a little bit better of a bit better of a communication stream through Reddit and Discord and the live stream, in that we can put up we can source questions and kind of look at addressing the questions that get upvoted the most on in advance. And so for the low price of 70,000 a year, yeah, thanks Mugsley. Yeah. Transcription. It's so much fun. If anybody's ever been a journalist or done a lot of transcribing, you know how much fun it can be. Anyways, am I wiping? Am I not paying attention and getting rocked? Oh, sorry. I'm talking too much. All right. I'm just gonna de-embarrass myself here and buy some characters. Because, yeah, I'm talking more than I'm gaming. Shameful. Shameful. Oh, it's because they're all level 1 still. Dylan sucks at this game. Yep, definitely Battlemaster. And definitely War Domain. Vengeance. Ted Faster. What kind of stream is this? This is more of a hangout casual stream with a player who apparently really sucks at the game right now because his attention is divided among questions and paying attention to the stream. Yeah. It's tricky to game and stream and pay attention all at the same time. I can see why so many streamers kind of diverge back and forth or have notifications that pop up. Do we have plans in A Tyranny of Dragons? No comment. So let's see. What do we got? Sith Muna, what's your favorite D&D class and why? Ooh. I have immensely fond memories of all D&D classes. Usually my favorite is whichever one either I just played for a really great campaign or which one I'm about to play. And so I am about to start playing an Azamar cleric for a Tomb of Annihilation campaign with some close friends, and I'm really looking forward to that character because they're complicated and the family backstory for them is complicated, and I've basically given my DM a lot of tools to mess with myself and the rest of our party for that one. And then my previous favorite one before that was I did a sort of it was an Eberron campaign, and I did a Warforged fighter that was programmed sort of to think that they were a lawful good paladin, but really they were basically the tool of a fascist and was just like a really narcissistic, racist, pretty kind of evil robot. So that was a lot of fun too. Moving on to the next one. Are there plans to implement non-loot crate progression for items? After a certain point, it's really hard to make more progress through chests because almost everything you get is a duplicate. That's an interesting point of feedback, and it's something that we will. It's something that I will bring up with the design team because yeah, we want all progression to feel meaningful. So. Let's see, under 100k Thorn's favor. I'm not seeing any advantage of using it for hero boost. Does this change at a point? So you're talking about Torm's favor? So you definitely want the global blessings for doing other events and campaigns. But other than that, what's really good about it is that once you buy enough blessings with enough favor, you can push much further, and the further you can push, the more you can make, and the easier it is for you to push further. And so you can kind of get a head start on pushing much further into the campaign. I haven't done this, but there are quite a few players, especially those who talk about it on the Discord, who have managed to push to, levels 200 to 300 using click potions and lots of fire breaths, and it's crazy. So yeah, good on them. So it's quarter after. It looks like Erica might be starting one of our raffles, although I didn't catch her saying that she was starting it. No, she didn't. Yeah, so first up we have a Celeste starter pack DLC. So that's what you see right here, because my Celeste isn't very good at getting gear. Ornate Holy Symbol blue, chainmail boots blue, copper amulet blue, thick scale mail belt blue, golden gauntlets blue, and then a gold epic ornate headband of faith, which is, that's the real juicy part right there because of how absurdly good it is, and a bunch of chests. So good luck to you. I hope the person who earns that is stoked, because that's awesome. I'm just going to unlock Makos and Tyrol, and maybe level up Hitch to Charisma. No, not quite. I promise to suck less at this. I can understand why I regularly get feedback asking whether or not I even actually play the game, because on stream I'm certainly awful at it. So, moving on to the next questions. Let's see. Let us sort the champion list at the bottom, such as by upgrade cost. That's an interesting suggestion. I like that. We'll take note of that. Let's see. X equals Y is suggesting collecting questions ahead of time so we can have more time to think of better questions, and you can make sure we get fewer duplicate questions plus questions that are always relevant to the guest. Absolutely, and that speaks to what I was very terribly articulating just a few minutes ago about doing a better job of communicating through the Discord and through the subreddit to curate a list of questions in advance. So what I'm planning to do is to Gungnil, what's this update? Oh, you will see. It's a fun one. So anyways, to curate questions in advance through the Reddit and the Discord in the morning of a stream, and then doing a better job of addressing those individual questions during the stream. So if there's an update, I should probably update and restart. Somebody just went up to the window. Justin is telling me that the event is live. Welcome to the Feast of the Moon. I wanted to talk about this earlier, but it wasn't quite ready to talk about. So our latest event is now live. You are now able to get Grama Nander, the Turtle Druid. She's a Circle of the Land Druid who is very versatile, at least on paper. I haven't managed to play her yet because I have to restart the game. So I'm going to do that and cross my fingers that I don't embarrass myself and crash right now. Because I have to restart the game for that. Alright, so I'm just going to put this over to news and do this in another window just so it doesn't look too interesting. So just going to do that now. The music will stop as well, and you can hear the subtle hum of the events above while the game updates. You know, I was really hoping that they wouldn't update it while I was on stream, but hey, here we are. Let's see if it works on the first load. Loading game definitions. You say that as if I don't embarrass myself in other ways. Yeah, well, you know, there's only so much that can be done, Axis of Anarchy, and you know, playing the game poorly when I'm on stream, not paying attention, among other things, and yes, apparently needing to exit Steam to update the game fully for Feast of the Moon. I can answer a few more questions in the meantime while my Steam updates, because we all love Steam updates. Just need to exit Steam, apparently. So, moving on, let's see, what do we got? Is there an in-game way to look at the upgrade sequence for your heroes so that you can plan where to spend your money? There isn't, and it's something that we talked about with when Dave was on the stream, either last week or prior, in that it's an option that we really like, and if and when we can find a moment to put something like that in, I think that was the plan. Because yeah, it's interesting, you know, and it's also it's not. There's a part where there's a bit of reflex involved in leveling up all of your characters, and sometimes you'll do something like last week when the Celeste upgrade swapped sides. You'll click the wrong one and end up with life domain instead of war domain and totally mess up a run. You know, if you were intending to do that. So, you know, it's the kind of thing that those would all help. So let's see. Come on, Steam, don't fail me now. The other funny thing is that in trying to upgrade this right now, we are also live streaming, which is using up a fair amount of our bandwidth. So I'm hoping that this is relatively painless and that it just happens the way that it's supposed to every single time. Come on, come on. Oh, 1 of 2 items to complete. 2 of 2 items complete. All right, the game is booting. Glen Elf, yes. So what Justin mentioned this last week, but what happened was just with the way that the game has been coded, it was an unintentional shuffle, and it was the second one in that it moved it back to a position it was already at once before. Minsk 9 is asking if anyone ever chooses Celeste's healing spec. I have, when I was trying out different builds to use other characters as tanks like Archon. But it did not work for me. Oh, excuse me. So this is just me prematurely completing an adventure so that I can boot up the new stuff because I want to see it too. You know, as somebody who works at Codename Entertainment, I get to sit in the meetings and hear people talking about stuff, but I don't get to play it until it's live. I'm not one of the people who tests it. So, oh, looks like we're up in Long Saddle. The Crypt of Legends difficulty fair. That's concerning. Oh god, I don't have enough skulls because I'm dumb and I forgot to collect a bunch before this starts. So this is why we save up scrolls. So check this out. This is a life hack. Because I need 100 skulls and I've got 26. How about 10 of these? Check it out. Skulls. Now I can play it. Yeah. Somebody once asked if so you can save up your scrolls and use them that way, and it's kind of cheap, but hey, it worked. Now I can boot it up. 2 is enough. 10 is overkill. Yeah, you're totally right, but I did it for the lols. Come on, the lols. It was funny. Yeah, I used my small contracts for some pushes, trying to get some favor to level up some stuff. But yeah, let's get Grama. Let's do this. Let's see. Can we get some lower level swaps? Funny you should mention that, because today, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure the level swap for Grama is actually level 3. It's at a Nayeli swap. And I know that Nayeli is bae and that everybody loves her because she buffs so absurdly good, but you know what? Grama buffs too. And so I'm still waiting to see how that works. Oh god, the 1 gold. I forgot how brutal this is to start, everybody. Oh no, I created more wolves. Oh dear. Alright. So, yeah, replace Nay? No way. Well, you know, it all comes down to how you buff though, right? Like, Grama can do DPS supporting or tanking, so we'll have to see. So let's see what else we got. So yes, it's LT Faceman asking if we can get lower level swaps. That's what that is. Let's see. The Feast of the Moon icon is similar to symbology used for the goddess Hel. Is this intentional? All of our symbology is kind of based off of elements from the Forgotten Realms. So it's from like the Sword Coast Adventures Guide and the Player's Handbook. And what's this? Oh, there's oh, people keep thinking there's a raffle. There isn't a raffle yet, but there will be. And so that's where the Artistral, the inspiration from, is just from already established art assets. I'm just ignore my clicking away here because I don't want to get killed on this already. Because the last time I played an event and forgot that you don't get your gold find to start, I got absolutely rocked because I turned away. And then I cursed Justin's name. Oh, what? That formation is whack. Alright. Stabby Rogue Games. That's a good name, too. Alright, so. Can we get lower level swaps? Yes. What else? Well, let's see. I haven't played D&D since 3.5. Should I try 5e? Tashulu? Yes. And so the biggest reason being that, and I love 3.5. Like, I played a lot of Eberron. 5e has kind of blown open the way the game can be played in a way that they haven't done in a long time. So I fully recommend it. I've had a lot of fun so far, and it's just kind of, to me, it feels like there's a little bit more fluidity and ease in with how you can just jump in and play. And obviously, like, it's, you know, it really depends on what kind of groups you play with, what your DM's like, what your play group is like. But I have been having a lot of fun with it so far. Yes. And I mean, you know, a good example of what it's like to watch people play it. I mean, you can watch Force Grey right here on this stream. Although, no wait, the Force Grey finale is this weekend. But you can watch Force Grey. You can watch one of the other shows like Dice Camera Action, and it's awesome. And it's accessible, I think, is the biggest thing. It's as Mars of the Manor points out, it's very elegant and easy to learn in a way that hasn't always happened with D&D. So it's There's nothing wrong with playing a second edition like JWP Baller there, but it's good. I recommend it. I mean, you don't know until you try, you know. Like, but yeah, check it out. It's a blast. So you know, we're approaching 1/2 and we're gonna do another giveaway in about 5 minutes. But I wanted to mention that so because we have Michelle coming on the stream at 2 o'clock. I would love to get some questions for one of our artists. So Michelle draws, I don't want to say all the monsters, but like the majority of our monsters. So like if it's attacking you on screen, it's something that she did at some point. And so if you have any questions for the woman who draws our monsters, just have at them. Just send them my way, and we will queue up a bunch of them and get them ready to have a discussion with Michelle about it at 2. I'm just going to kill some more level 4 giant rats and keep reading chat. So somebody asking, why would you auto click? So there's some interesting things you can do about auto clicking, and our official stance on clicking and scripting is that, you know, we're not for or against. It's kind of one of those things where we're just hands off. You know, we leave people to their own devices with it. You know, because right on, you're playing the game. But you can do some interesting things, and some people would be able to explain this better on the Discord. But you can set up a bunch of fire breath potions, queue them all up, queue up all your potions, and queue up all your gold find, and basically set a clicker to just tear through some levels for you. And if you can push really far, you can get a lot of favor, and if you can get a lot of favor, you can get a lot of, maybe I should level up a bit. Oh god, it's not set to auto upgrade like I'm used to. And if you can get a lot of favor, you can buy all your blessings. So you know, there are players who almost immediately after Torrent's blessings were released, did pushes, got crazy amounts of favor, and then bought them all. And like, if you look at mine, I'm not done. I have yeah, I'm still in the last one. I could buy some more levels, but I just haven't been pushing it hard enough. Yeah. So, okay, good. Yes, thank you. Please give us critter questions, because we will get them all queued up. Somebody asking if wings and pets can't be a good idea for shop. Oh, so who is that? That's Gunganil. So when you say wings and pets, do you mean like cosmetic items, like the kinds of wings and pets you get in other like MMO type games? Is that what you're asking? Because it's an interesting idea. Yeah. So if you could give me a little bit more on that, I would love to explore that idea further. Yeah, what else do we have? Let's see. Who decided that one of the mobs you should kill in Beast Intentions was puppies? WTF, Sir Lucian. Yeah, that's messed up, right? I really want to blame Justin for that, but you know, I honestly don't know who made the decision ultimately to kill puppies. Because normally it's like you're saving puppies, and being a dog person, it hurts my soul to do that kind of thing. But yeah, I have a strong feeling that was Justin. I don't know though. It's 1:29, so we are getting ready for our next giveaway. And so this giveaway will be for this. An Archon and Joe Manganiello signed postcard that features a code on the back for 2 gold chests. So yes, once Erica gets that underway, raffle for your prize, and I'm gonna unlock Nayeli. I guess here, and yeah, I'll just kind of truck away at this. It's slow going at this point, but at least I don't have to worry about them instantly dying as soon as I look away. So I can get back to some more questions. I'm glad you guys are giving us questions for Michelle, because yeah, I can interview Michelle and draw questions out, but if you have stuff that you want to hear about more, that makes this more valuable. And I also still want more feedback about how we do our streams and how we do our communications. you know, because we do want to improve. We don't want this to be just a one-way thing where we choose a specific time of week to just puke information at you, and then that's it. Like, you have to accept it that way, and then wonder what we're going to say for another week. So, you know, what we can do to keep that going is good. Kitty Big Butt saying a suggestion of fewer raffles. Is that because of the chat? Is it because it blows up the chat window and you can't see anything? Because that's definitely been something that we find challenging. And what we've actually been thinking about doing instead is setting up a bot to hide raffle entries, so that it's personalized, and then that part never distracts from the actual chat. So would that be better? That's something that we're exploring. Yeah, Salisa is talking about the raffle spam. So yeah, that's something that we want to reduce as well. Yeah, Master OX1, your communication is better than other big name companies. Company to be named. Well, you know, it varies. I mean, everybody does what they feel like is going to be best for their company, and we, as a smaller company, we like to have as close of a relationship to our fans as we can. That's why, that's why I'm doing this. That's why Erica does community hangouts and Q&As on Reddit weekly for Crusaders of the Lost Idols. And we're just trying to figure out how to make that better, because with our last title, Discord wasn't really a thing, and now it's a huge thing. And what we're actually finding is that we spend more time on the Discord, reading about bugs and suggestions and such, than we do just about anywhere else. So you are free to join us on the Discord at any time. Discord.gg/idlechampions. That'll get you in. It's always nice to have another influx of players, and aside from some dry humor that some of us have on there, we're pretty helpful. So feel free to ask questions, and we will do our best to help you out with formations and other kinds of strategy for the meta. Leanth22, if you could ever get people that are big names in D&D on as guests, that would probably get the game and stream a lot of attention. Like anyone from Critical Role or Force Grey or Chris Perkins. I know they're all busy, but maybe. We would love to. And it's definitely something we've discussed. We've been looking for ways to connect with different people to try and make this a little bit more dynamic. We've even considered Skyping people in so that we could have a face window off to the side for somebody else that we're chatting with. Especially since I don't know if you know, but like our one of our head honchos, Eric, who's on his way to PAX Unplugged right now, and then the Force Grey event this weekend. Like the guy goes out for breakfast with Joe Manganiello. So, how cool would it be to somehow convince Joe to grace us with his face for the stream for a bit? I'm not saying it will happen, but that would be sweet. Yeah. Hidden raffle idea is a great idea. Yes, thanks, Stabby Rogue Games. We agree, and it's something that we're looking into, and hopefully we can get that implemented sooner rather than later. Let's see. Looking through the questions. Can we have the option to lock down some heroes? I mean, to make them disappear from the lineup, because there are at least 3 that I don't even use. So I think the real question, Grey Hex, would be, can we make it so that every hero is one that you want to use? Making them disappear would be cool, but maybe. But what can we do to make the heroes that you're not using better? How about answer a question with a question. Moose Changer Pat, will there be any content that will be for mature eyes only, such as a nude nymph or a bloody grotesque undead? That's a good question. No idea. I don't know that that's something that we're planning, but that's an interesting question. Certainly would be in the spirit of old school D&D, wouldn't it? Let's see. ZZ Bolter ZX, any chance Joe Manganiello will be a champion in game? Class buff dancer. Joe Manganiello is in game. He is a Dragonborn Oathbreaker Paladin called Archon. You just have to, he's at the very end, so he's hard to unlock. Yes, let's see. I wish you guys had a roadmap. It just doesn't have to have dates. Just things like what's in design, coding, testing, etc. Faint Karmatic. So, Faint Karmatic, when you say that, do you mean that you wish that we provided you with a little bit more of a rough outline of what we were planning on doing down the line? Or, because it's kind of tricky in that there are things that we want to plan to have come out that we can't talk about because they're unannounced. But are you saying like, we try to do updates, this with this kind of frequency, or like this kind of holiday thing is coming up? Because one thing that we are doing right now is like we are establishing a roadmap. In that we had High Harvestide in September, we had Liar's Night in October, and now we have Feast of the Moon. So many of our events are planned to be annual events. Justin confirmed that last weekend. So there will be another High Harvestide next year, and there will be another Liar's Night. So that will be both an opportunity to get more chances at unlocking and gearing out champions you may have missed, but also new things each year. So we're also we are starting our roadmap right now, and we're just a few months in. Let's see. Mars of the Manor, how about some love for the characters from The Adventure Zone, a hugely popular D&D podcast? I'm sure the McElroys would be down. That's an interesting question in that, D&D has influenced these massive communities of people all over the world, and all over the internet these days, certainly with Critical Role and a lot of other shows. There are some awesome shows to watch. I love watching Acquisitions Incorporated. I love watching Dice Camera Action. I like watching Force Grey. And so, we would love to have more of these characters than the Force Grey characters that we have in it. And it's a discussion of connecting with people and seeing if there's a way we can make that work. Because they aren't all simply owned by D&D. So there are greater licensing questions around some of those things. Let's see. A lot of heroes need items to be usable. Would you consider shopping with chests for gold based on global favor? So you mean just purchasing gear for your characters? Could be an interesting idea to explore in some way. Is there metadata on heroes used? Do you track this? So we have a lot of data that we haven't been diving into because we've been so focused on just creating content and updating the game. So once we have a little bit more of a rhythm on how things are being completed, we'll be able to dive into more of that data. Let's see. Stabby Road Games. Regarding the pipeline, the public roadmap could possibly include fixes and not secret updates. Also, folks who have never worked in development asking someone to keep this list updated and accurate often takes a body off of working directly on the project. That is true. So, I imagine if I said anything promising, anything related to a roadmap, that Justin would just come in here and choke me out. And it's like ultimately his brain is the roadmap. But like Justin is busy, like we're putting a lot of content together, and like that's why we were so grateful to have him on the stream last week, because he's got a lot to do. I mean, it takes a lot of time to design and design, create, implement, and thoroughly test a lot of this stuff. I know that sometimes it might not seem like we do thorough testing because some crazy bugs will make it to live, but that's the nature of early access, and we're working on it. I know that a lot of extra hours were put in last week to try and deal with the crazy RAM memory issues, which I believe we're having fewer problems with now if it's not gone altogether for you. So it's kind of a tricky thing, but are we in a position to give more hints about what's coming? I think so. It's definitely a question that I will bring up with the rest of the team. Let's see. Axis of Anarchy just saw the final event achievement. Why you do this to me? You know what? I haven't seen it yet. What is it? Reach area 175 while using each of Gromma's 3 specializations. That will take some time. Versatortle. I like that. That's funny. Yeah, that'll be tough. Let's see. Grey Hex. Getting rid of the swap and instead being allowed to use any character we like would be good as well. Yeah. It would feel more lore friendly too. That's an interesting point. I don't... Okay. Let's see. Zibby Wiggles. Will there be future additions to character control to make hitting a group by choice rather than random strikes? That's an interesting idea. You know, certainly there's room in the character design to have a little bit more control, but for the most part, you're kind of just waiting on swing timers, and whichever person is up first, you know, based on their initiative in a way, they go for it. So I don't know that will change. Minsk 9 needs more Baldur's Gate characters IMO. You know, I don't disagree. Love me some Baldur's Gate. Let's see. Gianth Hawaiian? Sorry. Came in late to the game and the stream. Is there a way to get other characters from past events? There will be. Our intent, and obviously things could change, but our intent is for events to be annual and for you to be able to get past champions you may have missed, and then possibly future ones as well. So yeah, it will happen. It's you know, it might be a bit of a wait. So you know, we will definitely be exploring that. Are there plans to balance lower use champions like Delina? It's something that we are discussing. Sorry if this has been asked already. Do you plan on adding the mechanics to faster return to the point where you reset? Through a favor unlocks or some other way? Most other idle games have it right now. When Dave was on stream last week, we talked about that a bit, and yeah, certainly once we are pushing to further levels, we will be looking at ways to make adjustments to how quickly you get there. Yeah, that's something that we're definitely looking at. Pocky76, did anyone ever tell you look like Will Wheaton? What? No. What? No. No. I'm a little flattered, but no, nobody has ever said that, I can honestly say. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. You know, and who wouldn't want to look like Will Wheaton? Although I'm just reminded of the Big Bang Theory and the Wesley Crushers whenever that comes up. Let's see. OG17, is this event easier than earlier ones to have target area 175 instead of 150? I mean, so to reiterate what Justin has said repeatedly, and what David has said, and what what we put out there, the intent is for the design of each event to be able to be played and completed both by somebody who has never played before or is just starting right then, and by people who are veterans. So the veterans, like, the advantage that you have is that you have geared champions going in, but gold find is down to 0, and so we're definitely looking at it and tweaking it. I know that there will be adjustments with each event based on the number of players that complete it, because we do want to present a challenge to people in order to get everything, for those completionists among us. So yeah, it's we are tracking that, and if there is somehow a wash of people who are unable to complete it this time around, we'll notice, and we will be paying attention. That's the best answer I can really give you for that one. I'm sorry. Let's see. Next question. Will there be more moment-to-moment interactive parts other than click and item pickup? Don't forget distraction clicks. Those crows have saved me so many times. I'm like just needing some extra gold. Crows, rocks, goblins. There are plans for other ones as well. Big guy 4U69. Can I have one of those cool Idle Champions shirts? So that's an interesting thing. I'm obviously wearing one right now, and we did a giveaway one for Fan Appreciation Week. We're exploring ways to get these to people. Yeah, so we would like for everybody to be wearing one at some point, but how that comes to pass isn't just as simple as us printing shirts and selling them or something. So we're going to figure that out, but that is some more behind the scenes conversations to make that happen. That being, because we are a developer that is making a licensed D&D game. So yes, there are IP related discussions for that. Demeril 85567. The way the game plays currently, champions fall off rather quickly and you end up using 2 DPS with the rest as buff fodder. Are there plans for champion reworks or balances in the near future? There are going to be ongoing balances and changes, and then like obviously formation and meta shifts. Like the formation right now, which I haven't really explored yet, but like 2 in front and then 1 and then a circle. You know, there's a lot of area we haven't explored yet in terms of formations we could create and how we can play with that. And there aren't a huge number of champions in the game yet. So, you know, people trying to push to the upper echelons of idle champions right now are finding themselves kind of sandwiched into just a handful of different formations based on mostly on who has the best gear. But yeah, we are looking to change it up. You know, just as an example, like right now, pretty much everybody uses Ashara because Bond Humans is so good and is better than using Krond at the moment. But, you know, as soon as there are some shifts and maybe you're buffing orcs or half-orcs in a way that you're not buffing humans and you have more viable options, then it changes around. So, you know, the intent is to release champions that will constantly shuffle that up. And so we're interested to see how Gromma fits in. And then from there, we are interested to see how this works for everybody. You know, and it just occurred to me that I haven't actually redeemed the secret code myself, so I can probably just go in here and put in "ICANN has chests, please," and get me some chests. Boom. Let's see what I get. This could be interesting. Oh, a purple. Who doesn't like a purple? Ah, duplicate. It's 147. So it's a raffle time. And this is a good one. Right now we are giving away a key for Lords of Waterdeep plus both the DLCs, so Undermountain and Skullport. So yeah, that's 3 games, like $27, $28 worth of Steam game content. Canadian, I don't know what that is in American dollars, but yeah, good luck. Lords of Waterdeep is awesome. And I'm just going to keep opening these chests. So next up, what do we got? Charlaxle loot. Uh-oh. Ooh, fire breath potions. Nice. All right. So. Oh, and into the next area. Right on. Jay Giesler 10. So how does the raffle work? You just type in !raffle and enter to join. No question mark, and then you will be entered in, and then the winner will be chosen randomly among the users, and the Codename Entertainment account will send you a private message with how to get your prize. So that will either be sending you keys, or in the case of the recipient of this here postcard, it will be to connect with you about sending that to you. So yeah, that's how you join. New type of wall, that was nice. Thank you. What can you do with duplicate items? So I know it doesn't feel great to get duplicate items, but what they do is every time you get one, it buffs the item that you already have. And so it buffs it by a small percentage, based on the rarity of it. So if you get an epic, it's like a 2.4% increase, I think, whereas like a green copy of the item is like 0.6 or 0.1 or something like that. Don't quote me on those numbers because I don't know those off the top of my head, but yeah. T4RDEK Tardek. Is it possible to find shiny gear in a gold chest? It is possible to find silver shiny gear in chests, yes. It's extremely rare because what it does is it adds like a modifier to your item slot that at silver increases the value. So it's yeah, it can drop, but they're rare. I mean, I have what? I think I have 1 or 2 on characters outside of the DLCs. So yeah, it's not something that happens all the time. These are some great looking monsters. Look at these shadows, so dark. Let's see what else. It'd be nice if duplicate item buffs were a diminishing returns thing, so that the first few could be more meaningful. It's an interesting idea, talking about the ratio of improvement for those. let's see. Zillingir, how to change formation circle placement. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like where you put the character, you just drag and drop, or are you wondering about the actual formation? The formations themselves, like for here, it's like a, what is that, like an sort of an hourglass or something? They're determined by the campaign that you're on. So there's a Tomb of Annihilation formation. There's a, Venture Through the Realms, Sword Coast formation. And then each of the events has their own formation. So it varies. Yeah, sure, why not? Battlemaster, pretty much always. Who doesn't pick Battlemaster? It's the best. Ooh, I can get War Domain as well. Boom. Good stuff. All right. What is next? Who won the prize? Somebody asking, no Drizzt. Man, we want Drizzt. I want Drizzt so bad. That would be sweet. I got a shiny and a gold chest a couple weeks ago, but it's for Jarlaxle, so kind of a waste. But is it? I mean, like right now would be... I mean, I use Stokia to have it because she's so absurdly geared, but Jarlaxle's Gold Find is so helpful for events where your favor gets reset, for getting things rolling. And just like Mako's other specialization, it's a good way to start building up gold early. It might become a little redundant later, especially when you buy a bunch of champions right off the bat and then tab out or walk away and then come back and you're way further into it. But it's super helpful to start, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Critical Mole. What happened to your friends? You don't have Celeste Shiny from the Refer a Friend. I don't. I could cheat and like get somebody to give me one, one of the developers to put it in my game for me, but no, I didn't refer any friends on the weekend. I was sick this past weekend, so I was basically asleep. Did I do anything? I was asleep, and then I also played. I created characters for a new D&D campaign on Saturday with some friends. But yeah, I took it easy. So no, I didn't recruit anybody. Also, I think the friends on my list might already be playing the game, and the way that the Refer a Friend worked this past time, if somebody had ever installed the game before, you couldn't do it. It had to be somebody doing a fresh install. So yeah, sorry. Let's see, what's next? Toshima, question. Free-to-play games are generally expected to have all non-cosmetic items available through gameplay. Since golden epics are not available in chests, it devalues purchasing chests and pushes the game from free-to-play to pay-to-win. Are there any plans to make golden epics available through play? Well, I disagree about pay-to-win, because what are you winning? Like, this isn't a multiplayer game. You're not playing this against anybody. It's a single-player game. So what are you paying to win? Would be my question. But are there plans to make golden epics available through play? That's a very good question, and something that I think we will bring up internally. Let's see. Next question. The city from Terror in the Dark. Do you know if it is Phandalin or is it fictional? I don't know. Actually, that never crossed my mind, and it probably should have. And if Justin were here, I would bug him for an answer to it, because that's an answer he should have. But yeah, I don't know that off the top of my head. I didn't even think about that. Sorry. Tardek, yeah. Wish I could give you a better answer for that one. Garwar, I already got my friends into the game before the Recruit a Friend rewards came out. Are people like me just out of luck? That's a good question. You are out of luck for this past weekend's version of Refer a Friend. We haven't taken the time to really analyze those numbers yet, or look at how that contributed to the overall picture for Idle Champions. But that is the perfect kind of question to bring into our discussions on whether or not we do that again, or whether or not that becomes a permanent feature. Because who wouldn't want to have rewards coming in, based on the people that you've helped bring into the game? So yeah, we're definitely going to look into that, Garwar. Looking for another question. Drewbud269. Hope you feel better. Thank you. Yeah, it was unpleasant. There were actually probably 3 or 4 people out of the office just sick on Friday last week alone. because I know Adam was out and I know Eric was out and I was out. There might have been more, but I didn't catch it because I was asleep. But yeah, it's that time of the year that people start bringing colds. In this case, Eric brought whatever he got from PAX Australia back home to us, and then I don't know what Adam caught, but like, yeah, it was just kind of people shuffling in and out all week due to illness. So it's that time of the year. What can I say? But I'm feeling mostly better now. I'm just a little tired because I just realized I forgot to have caffeine today. So yeah, getting that like caffeine headache. The Painting Frog. Is the new event live already? It is. You will need to exit the game and Steam probably in order to get the update to restart. But yeah. Garwar pointing out that when you one-shot things, Jarlaxle's buff comes in much more handy than Stokey's. Switching to Stokey when things get harder helps. Yeah, because Stokey obviously needs to have damaged it and then it dies, or be killing it. But yeah, let's see. Question. I have a few friends who sit in Discord and play this game at the same time. Could we ever see any co-op style game mode? Sounds weird, but I like every game having a co-op option. Venomous Edge asked that question. I don't know. You know, we've been shying away from everything multiplayer related for the game, aside from chat so far. But I can say that when it comes to Discord, they just released a new feature for the platform called... I'm forgetting what it's called, but basically what it allows you to do is where normally it just says your name and then it says playing Idle Champions or playing Overwatch or what have you. The developers can take that and change that information to be something a lot more meaningful. So it could say, you know, you say your name, but it could also say like what adventure you're on, who's in your formation, how long you've been playing. Like it can greatly expand it out. And the example that they used for it was for games like Overwatch, where you could see, you know, whether or not somebody's in a tournament or, you know, playing a ranked match or what have you. But it's allow you to get more information from each other. And so when it comes to Idle Champions, that's something that we've looked at and that we're interested in. But right now there aren't any plans for co-op options. Let's see. Is it Waranita or Voranita? If you look into Refer a Friend, please consider those of us who recruited all of our friends months ago. I know. Thank you so much for doing that, though. I'm kind of in a similar boat in that, like, the friends that I knew that I could get to play, I got to play already. So, yeah. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Lucathea, any plans for characters to gain enhanced artwork appearances for using epic gear or shiny gear? So what I'm imagining you're talking about is because the artwork on the gear that the players have changes from rare to epic, to, like, you know, slightly more badass looking versions as you scale up through the difficulties, would be to have your characters look like those, you know, have their design reflect the fact that they're wearing more armor. So that was a question that came up a few weeks ago when Dave was on stream, and the part that came up for us was that we didn't want characters to have to wait to look like their badass selves. You know, like, we're really happy with the way they look in the designs, and the idea of having designs that don't look as good, and that for you to have, you know, like a crappier looking or weaker looking Bruner to start before he gets all his armor and looks like a badass was something that we didn't want to do. Oh, there we go. That's better. So it's something that we've discussed, but it doesn't look like it's something that's going to happen. Any guild systems being brought to the game in the future? We don't have plans for that right now. The best thing that we can recommend in terms of community is to just join the Discord. There's a link on the right side in the sidebar on the subreddit, but the short link is discord.gg/idlechampions. And yeah, it's a growing community. There's, you know, as of this morning, there's probably like 150 people online at any given time, but it tends to have peaks and valleys. And since the audience is very global, there tends to be people actively in there all throughout the day. So that's the best thing I can think of for a community right now. Assassin Ninjak, you are in a cold crypt, so of course you're going to catch a cold and mummy rot. Well, no necrosis here, but yeah, it's, you know, what can I say? It's that time of the year. I can feel my sinuses still agitated, but that also has to do with how dry it is in here. You know, I think we've come to the point where it's time to welcome our guest to the stream. Yeah, so I'm just gonna, you're gonna want to put those headphones on. Just as Michelle gets ready here, I will do a bit of a swap over for our view so you can see her. So this is Michelle Papadopoulos. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Papadopoulos.
Yeah. Try not to. Just a little bit more this way, because if you go too far that way, you push off the screen and you get chopped. Okay. And so Michelle draws our monsters.
Yep. Been busy lately, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. And so welcome to our stream.
Thanks.
We've been prompting everybody for questions so that we could have some questions for you when you get here.
Okay.
And so there's a stack of them here. So we'll just kind of go through one after another, but it's just one of those things. I want to make sure that I have something else open here so that I can keep track of that time. Okay. Mondo Flow's first thing was no question, but the monsters look great. Thumbs up.
Ah, thanks.
Yeah. And then Smirk Grin asks, what's your favorite D&D monster to draw, and have you drawn that monster yet?
It's almost a blur. I've drawn so many monsters the past half a year, I guess it's been. One of the ones that I really like to draw was the Tomb Guardian. It's in Tomb of Annihilation. I don't know if that probably did come out already.
Was that the one with the the helmet and the barb spikes?
The big helmet and
oh yeah, I got killed by that guy.
Okay, yeah. No, he was really fun because I drew him like right from scratch, and he took like a little longer than the others because I just wanted to make him pretty epic because he had all this crazy armor and all this like patchwork skin and like severed heads hanging off his hip. It was a fun one.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. I remember that guy. I remember him and it was one of the ones that for me when I was playing it like bugged out a bit, and he'd like started getting huge as he was killing me. So
that'd be even scarier then.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make some adjustments here to your microphone levels. You want to just start talking into it?
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. Keep going.
Is it getting better?
How about now?
Louder. Lower?
How's that, everybody? Is that perfect? That sounds good to me.
Was I not talking loud enough?
It wasn't quite at the right level.
Okay.
So, yes. Anyways, so yeah, you were saying that your favorite monster was the Tomb Guardian.
So far, to create it was the most fun just because I got to do all the armor and everything. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. I don't know. It's hard to pick one. There's so many of them that I like to do. So. Yeah. Endless lists of monsters.
Yeah, well, there's basically a follow-up is like, what's your favorite type of monster to draw?
Oh yeah. Well, I love kind of the natural monsters too. The monsters that are like tree monsters and sprites and dryads, that kind of thing. Those are really fun. I love drawing trees, so anything to do with that is up my alley for sure.
Sweet. Somebody asked, any question to buff Jarlaxle? He is so bad. He's not bad, and plus not everybody has Stokey, so you know, he just is outshined a bit by some of the other options you can have for the meta. So there's a question for you from Stabby Rogue Games. When creating assets, are you creating sheets with individual characters or creature parts?
When we create the monsters, we draw them in Illustrator first, sketch them up there, and then when we polish them up and make them ready for the game, we break them up into pieces. So like each piece will be like separate, and then we bring those separate pieces into Flash. So there's no like sprite sheets that we work with, but we bring into Flash and then we animate it there. Yeah, and then it gets exported from there. I don't know what they do with all the programming, but yeah, we just use Illustrator and Flash. So those are the main things.
Okay. Can you speak to what devices you're using to draw and like what your setup is like?
Yeah, we all have Cintiqs, which are great because you can draw right on this big screen. So those are super handy for sketching because I'm used to using tablets, the ones that are on the ground. But yeah, Cintiqs are quite nice because, yeah, it's more natural, I find.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So is there a monster that you would like to draw that you haven't had the chance to do yet?
Yeah, I think the Beholder.
Yeah?
Yeah, not just because it's the logo, but yeah, that monster is, I'm not very familiar with D&D. Like when I started here, I hadn't played D&D before, but the Beholder is one of the monsters that I found out about years ago. There was this art order challenge, maybe 2011. It's this art challenge for artists any artist could do it, and it was for the Beholder. So I saw all these different illustrations with this weird monster. I thought, what? Like, it's so out there, like this floating eye with tentacles, and so yeah, I was like, what is this? And then I figured out it was from D&D, and yeah. And anyways, and then that ended up being our logo too, and it's just kind of iconic. So won't that be fun to create?
It's one of those. It's interesting because it's one of those monsters that is unique to D&D, and there's no mistaking it for anything from anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. It's super iconic.
Lots of fiction have dragons or elves or sprites or what have you of different types, but Beholders are strictly a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Nova Skull Prime also asks, what is the hardest creature you've created?
Probably the ones with... Yeah, the ones with, let's see, that require animation that what's the word? like snakes, for example.
Oh, where it slithers, like it sways?
Yeah, because to get that type of animation, like you'd have to go frame by frame, and sometimes we just don't have the time to do like frame by frame animation, so we have to find different ways to do that. So like there's some monsters that have their tongue sticking out, like the Mimic, and yeah, you just kind of have to cheat those, like make the tongue come out really fast and just use kind of thing. You can't have this like lolling tongue, which would be really cool, but it's just quite time consuming. Also, the gelatinous cube was a little trickier because
just kind of like, that's the one that kind of just bounces.
Yeah. I would have liked to have done more, like have it sway more and everything, and skew more, but yeah, it's just based on time constraints and just constraints with the technology, I don't know, used to create the game. There's certain things you're kind of limited to, so you have to find ways around that. So that can be kind of tricky, trying to find animation techniques to make it still look cool, but
just within the confines of how this game is built.
Confines for sure.
There's a guy, X1 Metalsmith, saying that they started playing D&D in the late 70s, and that you've done a great job of capturing the style.
Oh, great, thanks. The style was when I came on a little less than a year ago. Everything was kind of set then, so yeah, like as an artist, you have to kind of meld with that style. So yeah, it was a fun one to pick up because I like it. It's a fun one to do.
The Painting Frog is suggesting that we do an art book with all the design art produced. One of the things that got them hooked was how beautiful the game looks. That's an interesting idea. Yeah,
that would be fun. I love art books. To have one of our own would be amazing.
Yeah. Just even just to have it on your desk, like, this is all stuff that we did.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. A friend, Michelle, can you add a rib to the male skeletons so that we can tell the difference?
Oh, okay. It's pretty. Yeah. I mean, there's variations, and I usually do. Like when there are variations of a monster, I try to do like male, female, and so that's something to think about. I didn't even think about that when I did it. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You have to have a keen eye to notice the difference in the skeletons on screen too, because like they're either dying too fast or I'm dying too fast in order to really see.
Right.
Let's see. Artax to Michelle. I just wanted to say that my 3-year-old daughter loves your zombies. I want to see the zombie game, Daddy.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Aw.
Let's see. Mr. Slap 777. Did you draw inspiration from the god Mask in order to draw the masked man in Liar's Night?
The Masked Man.
The dude with the mask that like stole the stuff from the beginning, and then you chase him for the whole campaign.
Right. I'm just trying to remember if I did that or somebody else, because there are times when I haven't done every single monster. There are times when I definitely need help, so other people come on and help me. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember if I did that one or not. I may not have.
So this is an interesting one that'll speak to you as an artist. Demerol 85567 asking, saying, Michelle, I'm assuming D&D was most of your influence for design, but were there any other influences? Yeah, I mean, we try to stick to when there's monsters and we have the monster manual. We try to stick to it as much as possible because that's the Bible that we go by. But there are times when we need variations of monsters, or there's some enemies that aren't in the monster manual that we can have a little more freedom with. And so, yeah, then we can kind of use our creativity more with that. And, okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but we try to stick as closely to, like, it has to work in the world. So yeah, I definitely use the monster manual and all the
especially
books.
with the established canon of the Forgotten Realms, and so there's it's an interesting thing to work with in those do you find as an artist it's difficult to work within confines like that, or it helps you?
No, it helps. It's nice to know the world that it's coming from, so it's always helpful when you're working on a game to have like a art Bible or something like that you can use as a guide. Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's an IP, you have to get it right. Yeah, it's going to be scrutinized by people who care a great deal about it. Yeah, so you want to make sure it's correct.
Okay. It looks like Erica found that Kat did the Masked Man for us.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I didn't remember.
Yeah. Toshimo, have you considered giving boss monsters a second, more damaged form when they've had their shield depleted? That's an interesting idea.
Boss monster.
Yeah, so right now it's just a life bar that goes down, and then eventually they croak, but...
Right, yeah, when that second bar... Oh, that's an interesting idea for sure.
Would that double the amount of time that you have to put into them, though?
Yeah, you'd be creating a second version of them. You could probably reuse the animation, but creating a second version of the monster would add a lot of time. And
I could just picture Justin David be like, no, are you kidding?
Yeah.
And Adam being,
I don't know if that's possible right now, but yeah, it would be nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So KCO 501 is asking, how much experience did you have with the Forgotten Realms lore? Your Red Wizards of Thay have managed to capture the arrogant, powerful feeling better than any previous renditions I've seen.
Oh, wow, thank you. I don't have a lot of experience with the lore because I'm newer to D&D than a lot of the people that work here, but we did get specific reference from Wizards of the Coast for that monster. So I had, we asked specifically for that monster for reference. So they sent us sketches and all kinds of stuff. So I had a bit to go with, so thanks.
It's almost quarter after, which means that our next DLC giveaway, our next giveaway is coming up. And so once that starts in the chat, because Erica will be doing that through the Codename account, when that starts, it's !raffle to join, and the winner will receive a Brunner Starter Pack DLC. So that's the Brunner Gold Epic and a full set of rare gear for him, or upgrades if you already have gear, and then some gold chests. So gotta wait until Codename starts it, but yes, once that starts, that will be our next giveaway, and then we have 2 more coming after that to round out the rest of the hour. So back to Michelle. A user named Kitty Big Butt is asking where you learned to draw.
Where did I learn to draw? I've been drawing since I was a kid. yeah, I've just been drawing my whole life. Used to draw horses when I was a kid. I was obsessed with horses, and when Jurassic Park came out, I was obsessed with drawing dinosaurs for a while. So yeah, I just kept doing it all through high school, and after high school I didn't really know what I wanted to be, and I kind of stopped drawing a little bit. I just didn't know if it was a realistic thing to keep doing, and
that's something that crosses a lot of artists' paths, I imagine.
It happens a lot. But yeah, I just, throughout the next couple years after that, it was just something I couldn't quit. Like, I just kept doing it.
Right
Even
on.
if I've had little breaks here and there, I've just kept at it. And then I went to school for 3D animation, and they still teach you drawing there too. And then I learned more about illustration. I took workshops and online classes, and I don't know, just kept doing it. Like, you just have to kind of get into the habit of drawing every day if you want to become an artist. It's all about the hours you put in. So yeah, just keep doing it if that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because as somebody whose every single report card said draws too much growing up, you know, a lot of people tell you can't do it. And a lot of people tell you that it's like, no, you can't make money doing that or what have you. Mm-hmm. And I believed that, and I did other things.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's like, it's just one of those things that, like, you know, and it's interesting because I mean, it's obviously not going to work for everybody, but it is possible to do it. Like, there are ways to get paid as a full-time artist.
Yeah,
so.
there's so many things you can get into as an artist. It's interesting.
Cool.
Oh, you should start drawing again.
That's what people keep telling me. I also did this when I was in high school, so it shattered my right hand.
You can become a lefty.
Oh God! Well, you know, I did not. The art that semester sucked. Yeah, that's another story for another time. So let's see, John Belly. Since I've seen a lot of people with Greek names not being able to, can you pronounce your last name?
If you want to pronounce it the Greek way, it's Papadopoulos, but it's just Papadopoulos here. Yeah, I'm not a Greek though. I married a Greek, so that's a name I had to get used to spelling and using. It took a while to get used to it.
Fair enough. Let's see, Giant Dwarf. How would you like to draw the Tarrasque, also known as D&D's Godzilla? Basically the end game event. I feel like we might be a long ways off from drawing one.
I don't know what that looks like because
so
I'm not too.
It's varied pretty wildly from all the versions of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's always been like the toughest, biggest, giantest thing, the hardest to kill monster. It's D&D's Godzilla is the perfect description.
Right.
And so it does
awesome.
Yeah, it's 50 feet tall, 70 feet long, and you basically need a party of level 20 players to try and fight it because it will kill you. And and like lore wise, it's one of those things where it's like there's one, like, and it just like it rampages around. Nobody can do anything about it. It's there.
That would be amazing.
But yeah, in terms of the game, it's like, when would we put that in? It's like literally last. Like, it is the last.
I mean,
everything else would have to go out before the Tarrasque. So
yeah, if it's the end all be all, then
yeah. Mr. Slap is pointing out that it's unkillable, and I think that varies. Yeah, it might vary based on the setting ever so slightly, but yeah, it's like one of those singular planar things. It's just like this giant monster that, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we could just say that for the very, very end, like years and years from now.
Yeah, pretty much. So Silisa is asking how long you've been a professional artist.
Let's see, I finished school in 2003-ish. I had a diploma in 3D animation. Then I was really lucky and got hired right out of school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at a local studio, and I was at that studio for around 12 years. So yeah, I've been doing it since 2003. Yeah, at gaming companies. And then I do illustration and stuff on the side. So yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
So do you still do illustration much on the side?
Yep. Yeah, I love fantasy illustration. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to work on this game. Because as a fantasy artist, like, almost everyone wants to work for Wizards of the Coast. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah. They hire all the best artists in the world.
Yeah, the art is amazing. Yeah, and so I still do things here and there on the side. I like having freelance projects. So sometimes I storyboard or do different things. I like working in film too. So yeah, all kinds of projects.
Cool.
And paintings.
Weird. Some weird questions coming in through chat now. So let's see. Mordragar asking, do you have a favorite fantasy artist? Like, do you have opinions about Todd Lockwood or Larry Elmore?
I have so many favorites. It's hard to pick one. I love the Golden Age illustrators like Arthur Rackham and Dulac. I love their ink and watercolor drawings. Oh man, I don't know. So many. It's hard. I don't have a favorite. I have many. I love like Ian McKegg. He does a lot of concept art for film. He's an amazing artist. Alan Lee. I love his drawings.
Alan Lee, didn't he illustrate some of the Lord of the Rings books?
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I recognize that name.
Yeah.
Right, he was on set for the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Right.
Painting pillars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brian Froud, he did like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, and yeah, I don't know, there's so many of them.
All those things that gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Labyrinth is my favorite movie, so yeah.
Yeah, with the helping hands. Mm-hmm. Creepy and weird to me even still. It was also surreal too. Like, it's one of those things where like you have weird memories of it long after the fact, and like when you grow up you're like, wait, oh, that's where that comes from, right? Because it's like some of it is so bizarre and disconnected because it's so fantasy that it doesn't spend its time in your conscious. It's like weird places of your subconscious, and you have like weird dreams, and you wake up, you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Oh, it's from that weird movie I watched when I was 6 or
and
whatever.
then if you rewatch it again, it's so weird.
Yeah.
To watch it as an adult, like all these movies you watched when you were a kid. Yeah.
That and The Last Unicorn and Dark Crystal and just all those films. Just.
Have you seen Watership Down? That one.
That
was
That
terrifying.
messes you up.
Yeah.
With the bunnies killing each other.
Yeah. Even as an adult, I rewatched it and it still messed me up.
It's unsettling. Yeah. But the good thing about that is that like that's the bar. Like you can't cross that line for the films that you show your kids these days. If you have
Things
kids.
have changed. That's for sure. What you can show kids.
So like. Watership Down is kind of like that. Don't cross that line. Like Bambi, yeah, sure. Kids need to learn that things die at some point, but
yeah,
like vicious bunny murder, no, maybe they don't need to know that. So, yeah. Okay. Moose Changer Pat, have you ever drawn any of the other Forgotten Realms characters that aren't in this game? And would you maybe consider doodling Drizzt for us, real quick? I think Adam wants to do Drizzt actually. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's already done versions of Drizzt.
I think he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, have I ever drawn? The characters? I haven't done much of the characters. That's Adam gets to do all the characters.
Yeah, you kind of Michelle focuses more on the monsters.
Yeah,
so.
The enemies.
Yeah. Although I think our chat has basically turned into people debating how to kill a Tarrasque at this point, it looks like. So, people are just trying to figure that out, which is fair. It's an interesting discussion. There are, of course, creative ways you can try and do it in the realm of D&D, but yeah.
And a lot of the characters in the Forgotten Realms might be in the game eventually because we're going to keep adding more characters.
I was looking at the list yesterday when Justin sent a rough list over the next 8 months into people that we talk with at Wizards, and it's like there's some gaps and there's some names, and it's like, and then there's like names like these ones can go anywhere, and like these ones are tied to this campaign and to this campaign, and so we're pretty excited to start bringing those in. I think a lot of people will be excited as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Be fun.
One bit of feedback we got yesterday through social media was because we were asking people about whether or not they use ad blockers surfing the internet, and which overwhelmingly they did. And Clive's asking that because he's curious about. He's like, is it even worth it for us to do ads? Like, is there a way for us to make this worth it for us? Having a smaller indie budget, but at the same time, one of the first responses is like, you can't. He's like, why wouldn't you put that money into Acquisitions Incorporated characters, because like that will get you the kind of hype and passion for it that you can't buy. And I'm like, it's a good point, and it's a discussion we'd love to have. And so there are other characters outside of the Forgotten Realms lexicon that we would also love to include. So
yeah,
lots of characters.
Yep, possibilities.
Also lots of monsters.
Yes.
People are now debating whether or not I look like Will Wheaton. I don't. I have a beard and hair. Will Wheaton? Star Trek, Will Wheaton.
Oh.
Perhaps you remember him as Sheldon's enemy on Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
That was a strange compliment. I think it was a compliment. I don't know. Yeah. Acquisitions Incorporated, Critical Role, High Rollers, any of the games on the D&D stream. Yeah.
Right.
We would love to do stuff like that. That sounds cool. Somebody roll some dice and prove you're not Will Wheaton. Actually, I do have a bag of dice in my bag at my desk, which is not in this room.
Yeah, we all have dice on our desks here. But
yeah.
Not in here.
Yeah. So back to art. The Painting Frog asks, Michelle, have you got your art published somewhere online?
I had my work published in the Imagine Effects magazine, but that came out maybe a year ago now. It was a fantasy themed version of it. Forget what month it was. And I've had it in another book on retold fairy tales. I had an illustration in there. A couple of things here and there. Nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But a few. Hopefully more in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the Mickey is asking a pretty interesting question, because this will give people a better idea of why you've been working on monsters for half a year and why our release timelines are what they are. How long does it take to draw and animate a single monster?
Yeah, it completely depends on the monster, for sure. But I did time myself a few months ago when we were trying to figure out schedules. And I found that like a super simple monster with the simplest you can get. I think a flying snake, just a simple little flying snake, took about 4 hours to draw and animate. And then I think the Tomb Guardian was the longest one that I worked on. I mean, that could have changed since I timed it way back when. I haven't been timing them now. But that took about 3 days. So yeah, it totally depends. I think on average it probably takes a day for one. But yeah, it's really hard to say. It really depends on the monster.
So what about the Tomb Guardian made it take 3 days versus 4 hours?
It depends. If the character has armor and clothing on, that takes a lot more time because you have to get in to all the details. If it's an animal, it seems to take less time because they're not wearing anything. They have a bit of fur or scales or something, but yeah, those take a little less time. It's the humanoids that wear clothing and stuff that seem to take a little more time, or some really strange monsters that require animations that aren't so ordinary. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
The Mickey is also mentioning thanks for answering their question.
Oh yeah. Thanks for asking me questions. Got something to talk about.
Yeah. Giant Dwarf, are you excited to draw dinosaurs for Chult?
Oh yeah. I've already drawn some and they're some of my favorites so far. Because I was obsessed with Jurassic Park when it came out, like I mentioned. So, yeah, I used to draw velociraptors all the time, and I finally got to do it for the game, which will come out soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact timeline for the next Tomb of Annihilation launch, but if Feast is today, it's soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
So I hope...
Yeah, dinosaurs, yes.
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
I hope there's lots of dinosaurs, lots more to do. So,
yeah, and also Chult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chult is amazing.
That's pretty exciting by itself. Yeah. So Snow0815 kind of asking a bit of a follow-up question to the last one. Well, the one before the last one. Roughly how many separate parts do you need to draw per monster?
Yeah, it definitely depends. Each joint, like each piece of anatomy is a separate part. I draw them, when I'm drawing though, I just draw it all together, and then when I'm kind of polishing up, I break them apart, and then you have to kind of, make them kind of work so that they can turn, so you have to just draw, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you have to make the joints work basically in Flash when you're animating them. So yeah, it's pretty much any joint. So if there's like an animal with 4 legs, they're going to take a lot longer to break apart and animate because they have all these extra joints and extra legs, and
Okay. I want to dive more into that, but before we do, because it's 2:29 and it's almost 2:30, we have our next giveaway coming up. And so this one, which will be starting in a minute whenever Codename Entertainment and Erica get it rolling in the chat, will be for a key for Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation, and that was put out by our friends at PCOM Studios a month and a half ago, maybe now, over I think they're in Quebec City, actually. And so good luck to whomever wins that. But yeah, Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation key giveaway. So on the note of the segments, it's what you're describing, because it reminds me of when I was in art classes. You had those pictures of of dummies to draw, like those old wooden ones, and like each segment had like a joint, and then like each part. Right. And you kind of do something similar with this, in that like you draw a character, and then you chop them up and like make them into each joint and component so that they can move. Yeah,
and you have to choose which joints go in front, like which pieces of anatomy go in front of the other pieces, and then the piece that goes behind, it has to have kind of like a, say this, my hand was in front and this part was behind it. You have to create a joint of this arm to go around it so that when this hand moves, you don't see like open edges of the line. It's all connecting. So that kind of thing. Just breaking them up and getting them ready for them to be animated.
Okay. So this is an interesting question from a name that I'm... what is 4D2? Oh, I get it. How long would a variant take after making the first one?
That also depends. Some of the animals are a lot faster because you can change the color, and that's a lot faster than having to, like if it's a human or something wearing clothes, that you have to change the clothing, so that takes more time. So it can be from anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours, half a day, I don't know. And then usually you can reuse the animation, so you can swap out the parts and reuse that, but sometimes you do have to tweak the animation and stuff too, which takes time.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely faster than doing one from scratch, that's for sure.
Yeah. Also probably a reason why people are so fond of variants. I think what was it? In one of our calls with Wizards, somebody said something about how, like, well, how will you get that done? And Justin's like, variants. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But it's just like worried that you're going to create like this massive list of stuff that needs to be done in a short period of time and not be able to do it. So
yeah, it does help when there's variants, but even those, like, sometimes they do have to be more like different. Like, you can't just do a color swap on every variant, so you do have to take more time to make them different.
Congratulations to Ambien C Invoker, who won that, by the way. Just a shout out to the chat. I can't normally catch those because the names go by so fast, but I caught it that time. So another question from the Mickey asking, who decides if a monster you have drawn is okay or has to be reworked?
Everything we do gets sent to Wizards for approval. So whenever I'm done my list of monsters, it gets sent off, and then they give us feedback if need be. If there's I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's usually...
Oh, actually, so I could probably answer that question because I'm in on those calls. Because we have, there's 4 or 5 people that we talk to at Wizards, and a handful of them, one of them, Chris, does a lot of the review of stuff, and he'll be the one who sends us the notes on it, and then those notes go to us, and then they go to Adam, and then you, or some combination thereof. They're... So Wizards of the Coast basically says yay or nay. They give the ultimate thumbs up, thumbs down on it, and
they're pretty free with, like, we're pretty much free with what we're able to do. They're not super picky, which is nice. There was the odd thing, like the flying snakes. At first, I put feathered wings because I thought I saw that, like, in some reference, there's like a statue of one of them, and it looked like feathered wings, so I just put that in.
I remember that email, actually. And they're like, actually, they should be scaly, or like bat wings.
Yeah,
like,
bat wings. So then I had to change those. So stuff like that. But they're usually pretty.
Okay.
Not too many changes.
Yeah. We got a question, Windaber. If you could pick any theme to make a dungeon from the perspective of what type of mobs would you love to spend time drawing, and what would it be? Okay, so if you could pick the theme of a dungeon from the perspective of what type of mobs you would be drawing in it, what would it be?
Ooh, I'm all about the natural like forest creatures and that kind of thing, so I'd love to do a dungeon full of like vines and roots and mushrooms and lots of like evil fairies or tree creatures, that kind of thing. I love that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because there's like a tree monster that kills me pretty regularly on my runs, because I think it's towards the end of one of them, and so like whenever I hit my wall where I can't progress, it's the thing that comes and rocks me. So I was just like
treant maybe, or
I can't remember which one it is, because there's more than one type.
Yeah, there's confused types.
Actually no, I think this one's a moss monster. Yeah, it's like a swamp.
Oh, a shambling mound.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Been killed by that thing a bunch. So, C&E Justin asking, what's your favorite dinosaur to draw, and have I made you draw it yet?
Yes, you have made me draw it. It's the Velociraptor. So I love it. I've loved it ever since Jurassic Park. So, yeah, that was really fun.
I remember when we found out that you would get to do it, one of the first questions you asked was like, so are we going to do actual size ones, like in real life where they're like chickens, or are we going to do Jurassic Park ones where they're huge? Because Wizards like, just look at the art. It's like, yeah, but like there isn't necessarily a sense of scale in the picture. Yeah, that was a tricky one because there's no picture of a Velociraptor in the Tomb of Annihilation book. So I kind of took, it's not like the realistic one, but it's not a Jurassic Park one. It's kind of like in between. So trying to match it to the other dinosaurs that are in the book already that we had reference for. So. Okay. AUS Grizzly, did you draw the flying monkey found in the appendix in Tomb of Annihilation? Because oh my god, so cute.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. Yes, that's super cute. No, I didn't draw it. I wish I did. Yeah.
I haven't seen that actually, or I just didn't notice it. I guess I don't really browse through the appendix that much, so it's not something that crossed my mind.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a super cute illustration. Yeah.
Flying monkeys, huh?
Yeah, I did the flying monkeys in the game, but yeah, not in the book.
Huh. So OG17 asking, generally speaking, is there one artist on monsters, one on characters, and one for backgrounds?
I'm mostly on monsters. Like, I've pretty much been doing monsters and enemies the past, almost since I was here. I started on backgrounds though. And then, Kat does a lot of icons, and Adam does a lot of the main characters, and Alexis does a lot of the backgrounds. But we switch, like, I mean, I'm on monsters, but I definitely need help, so other people come on and help me with monsters, and yeah, it kind of depends. Some people switch around and do different things depending on if somebody's sick or what we have.
Yeah, because I remember Georgia was helping out with some of the art like a couple weeks ago when she was in.
Right, yeah. So it just kind of depends on the schedule and what needs to be done and who's available. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Garawar, what is your favorite type of humanoid to draw, and why is it dwarf?
And why is it dwarves? What is my favorite humanoid? Let me think. Geez, it's so hard to think because I've done so many. Yeah, I like doing the drunk. There were some drunk patrons that I had to.
Oh, the ladies with the swagger with like the.
Yeah, they're all like holding bottles and. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah, those were fun because it's not your normal like walk cycle animation. They were just kind of like whoa.
Just lots of swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because on the stream a couple weeks ago when Clive was sitting there, I got killed by them. And I was like, what are you doing to me, Justin? Yeah, they just like kind of rolled up and like they were just killing me because it was an event and I wasn't paying enough attention or clicking and was getting rocked by them. It was pretty funny. Yeah,
those guys were fun.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question from one of our regulars, Faint Karmatic. How would you approach drawing something without a lot of detail, like a clay golem?
For that, I don't even think I did the clay golem. I think Corey did the sketch for that. But yeah, if it's something that doesn't have a lot of armor or anything like that, it's all about the texture of it. So I believe for the clay golem there were lots of cracks and different, yeah, I think there were cracks or different angles of it or pieces of clay that were put together. I can't quite remember what it looks like, but yeah, basically you take the basic shape of the monster and then add texture to it in some way, or you can use lighting to define the shape of it a bit more too. Yeah, but the silhouette of a character is super important, so if you have a really good silhouette, then the details don't matter as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the face and hands, like if you get those right, like those are what most people pay attention to the most, so
yeah,
face and hands.
That's some,
and then
that's
the
some
rest
human programming right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest just kind of falls into place if those two are kind of detailed and well thought out.
Yeah. It's interesting because like things like a clay golem or even like a gelatinous cube, like they are texture more than they are detail or even an object, because they tend to be kind of smooth and amorphous in some way.
Yeah, like the gelatinous cube, there's not a whole lot to go on, but just having that a bit of transparency and seeing things that are inside the gel and having a bit of shine on it goes a long way. So.
Okay. This is kind of a cheeky question. How would you draw the invisible stalker?
Good question. Invisible stalker. Is it completely invisible? There's like nothing.
Isn't that one's the cat with the things, isn't it?
If it's completely invisible, yeah, that would be tricky. Maybe you could put like footprints animating, but
yeah, or
have him like wear something so that at least there's something moving, like a hat. I don't know.
I remember there was one of the missions has invisible things in it. Yeah, Leanne says I'm thinking of a displacer beast. That is what I was thinking of. I'm like, yeah, isn't that? No, displacer beast. The cats with like the tentacles with spikes on it at the end, kind of thing. Yeah, if something's invisible, I mean, there needs to be a representation of it in the game somewhere.
Yeah, like if it's something that's invisible that can turn back to visible, like maybe there's a bit of a shimmer that it goes like invisible and then just like invisible, like maybe there's some kind of transition.
Oh, like a
that
shimmer
could
over
happen.
it?
Yeah, that would have to be thought through for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's some interesting ideas coming through in chat too. So they're referring to the air elemental, and it's it's made of air.
There would probably be some way maybe to do some like wind or clouds.
Some kind of displacement, right? Like dust and debris that it's moving.
Yeah, there'd have
as
to
it
be
goes.
some kind of movement. Of stuff around it, maybe.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost 1:45, which means that it is almost time for our last giveaway. And so, it being our last giveaway, we're going out with a bit of a bang, so to speak. It is a Nayeli Starter Pack DLC, which comes with a boatload of chests. And in terms of gear, I mean, my Nayeli has one extra epic, but it comes with this beauty right here, the figurine of Wondrous Power, gold shiny epic, and then rares for all the other slots. So a rare ornate breastplate, a rare dwarven mithril shirt, and a rare version of the Gauntlets of Sworn Justice or Vengeance, not the epic one I have, and then rares for the devoted holy symbol and the strong magical greatsword. Nayeli is Bae, unless you're using Grama, in which case you're swapping her out. But yeah, that's a darn good one to get. So good luck, and curious to see who wins that one. That's our premium DLC right there.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's interesting that people always bring up like what do you want to draw, or what monster do you want to do the most, because like we can't really spoil too much about what's coming up next, because we want there to be some surprises. I mean, yes, everybody's read the monster manual, so they have a pretty good idea of like what may or may not be in the game, but at the same time, nothing beats that surprise when you're playing and something rolls out and just what is that? And it's like gets you.
Yeah.
Or you can feel the appropriate amount of dread based on what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to keep them as surprises.
Yeah. I guess so. On that note, were there any monsters that you were drawing over the last half year now that surprised you at like how much like, oh, this was like unexpectedly fun to work on or to create?
Well, probably the Tomb Guardian, like I mentioned before. I didn't expect to draw them because I'm more of like a natural tree drawing person. But no, that armor is not like a huge thing that I like to do usually. But for some reason that was a lot of fun.
So what is it about armor that dissuades you? Is it like just
because it's a hard surface thing, like anything like cars or buildings or hard surface things, I'm not a huge fan of for some reason. I like organic, like, creatures and, plants and animals, that kind of thing. So armor kind of falls under the hard surface thing. But it's been fun it's been a challenge to come up with new kinds of armor and everything. So it's a good learning experience for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Can you introduce a flump maybe for April 1st? That's funny. Big guy 4U69. I have 1,115 hours in this game already. That's a lot of hours considering how long you've been playing it versus how long someone like Dave has been playing it. That is impressive. And that is not the highest I've heard of out of our community, but it's up there. That'd be some interesting data to look at some point.
Right.
Somebody asking if you've seen the Zaratan, the giant turtle with an island on its shell.
I don't know if I have seen the D&D version. There's so many different versions of that and different
cultures even.
I'm thinking of the one from the Neverending Story.
Oh, really?
But that's the one I know the best.
First one that came to mind for me was the one from the Legend of Korra cartoon.
Okay.
Because they do a Avatars of the Past part in it, and it's done in like a really old Japanese painting art style instead of the normal animation, and then like they keep talking to all these turtles that have cities on their backs, and it's like, it was trippy.
Yeah, though that's really cool though. It would be neat to have that one in game. If is that a monster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good question, actually. Another one from the Mickey. If a monster drawing takes 4 hours to 3 days, how long before a new event how long before a new event do all the monsters have to be finished? How long before an event do you have to start drawing monsters for that event?
Good question. We don't have like a complete set schedule yet, but for example, the list I'm working on now, I started late last week. No. Or early this week. Yeah, late last week. And it's due next Tuesday. So, I have
the list that you're on for a future event?
Yeah, for a future event.
Okay.
So it's usually about a week or two per list of monsters. And the list of monsters, it kind of depends how many there are based on the event. And some we can use variants or other monsters that have been used already. So it's quite busy though. I usually need help to finish the list because the time frame is quite short. So,
and especially because on top of your development time for it, we then have to do submissions to Wizards by certain dates.
Wizards. Yeah, that's my deadline is the date that it gets sent to Wizards, and then I don't know how long it would take after that. It depends on the schedule of the events that are coming out. So
Chris tends to be pretty good about getting back to us relatively quickly, but then it's like you go through that approval process, and then like you try to have more than enough lead time for all that to be done and easily implemented into the game before an event. So like just as an example right now, like we have Feast of the Moon right now with the zombies with spikes sticking out of them and a few other different variants. When were these submitted?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I probably did those about maybe a month ago-ish.
Yeah, that sounds about right, I think, actually. Yeah. Especially with when events in our schedule are roughly slated to be coming out.
Yeah, so maybe a month-ish.
Yeah.
But
So this is another interesting question about animation and monsters. Toshimo asking, I see that the zombies in the event have pronounced limps. Did you get someone to model that sort of walk for you?
No. Sometimes there are times when I do use myself as reference and I do kind of weird things to get the motion right, but for that I don't think there was. I didn't see anyone. If I can't remember if I did that or not, or if somebody else modeled those, but or animated them. But yeah, no people. I didn't see anyone get up limping for that one. Sometimes videos are good for that too. Sometimes I'll look up YouTube videos for reference to animate rather than getting out of my chair and like acting like an idiot.
I have a lot of artist friends who will post pictures of themselves doing reference art for something. Yeah.
I do that all the time at home.
I'm trying to figure out how to draw a hand at this thing. It's like, oh, fair enough. It's like hard to conceptualize, let alone draw.
Yeah, so. I've taken actually pictures of my own hand here at my desk to get the right angle and stuff. I try to like be discreet about it because I don't want to be like some weirdo taking strange selfies. But at home, like at home in my studio, I have a big mirror and I use that a lot for like, looking at weird angles of things, whatever you need reference for. But yeah, in animation it helps too, and YouTube is a great thing for that. I just look up the animal or whatever and that helps.
Cool. Another question from Romelda Fox. Are you always drawing monsters for specific events? Do you ever just draw random monsters that you think will get used at some point?
They're always for specific events for sure. There's not, if there was like some open time that we had, which doesn't happen, but if we did, that would be fun to just do monsters that I would want to be put in there. But yeah, it's usually for specific events. Gotta plan them out for sure, since we're putting out so much content. So
looks like I'm finally getting wrecked in this game. I've been neglecting it for long enough, and to the point where people are talking about my formation. Like, does he know what he's doing? No, I don't.
Well, you still passed that one.
No, that went back. Oh no, I did get through it. Okay.
You're gonna probably die.
So I haven't actually looked at this or thought about this event or the formations yet, but it's clear that I need to do some shuffling, which I will probably figure out after the stream because I actually need to think about it and look at this. And also I need to unlock Grama because I finished that 44 levels ago. So maybe I'll just do that. You get Grama. Yes, I do.
Oh, nice.
You have 0 Jurgil's favor.
I had fun doing. I did the reset screen. That was super fun.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, people around the campfire. I always like that piece of art.
Yeah,
looks nice.
Because it was more like an illustration.
Yeah. Do you like do you find that illustrations are more or less fun, or is it just something that you just don't get to do as often, so you get more excited for it? Yeah,
maybe that's it. Because in game art, it's more like little pieces of assets here and there. So it's nice to do like a full screen illustration type of thing, or full screen. Animation of some sort. It's always a treat.
Cool. Well, it's 2:53, so we're getting close to the end because we like to wrap up just a little bit early so that Destiny and Doom has a nice window where they can comfortably start their stream instead of worrying about whether or not we're going to finish right at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Thank you for joining us, and thank all of you for joining us. We appreciate it, and we're going to take your feedback and have a look at it and see what we can do to address some of the issues that we have, some of the things that are coming up. Look at cool things to do in the game. Thanks to Playdeck and BCom for giving us great giveaway material for the game. They are wonderful, generous members of the Dungeons and Dragons community, and so thank you for that. And thanks to Joe Manganello for signing these cool postcards, and just all around being a passionate lover of Dungeons and Dragons who, is more than willing to help us out and do something cool. And our eternal gratitude, of course, to Wizards of the Coast for hosting us here on the Dungeons and Dragons Twitch. It is, as always, a privilege to be here, and we'll never stop being thankful for it. So thanks for watching, and stick around. Destiny and Doom is coming up next.